Now we will discuss about the culture. So culture comes from a Latin word meaning to build on, to cultivate, to foster. Culture is a set of accepted behavior patterns, values, assumptions, and shared common experiences. Culture defines social structure, decision-making practices, and communication style. What is the meaning of culture? Culture refers to the belief, values, behavior, and material objects that together form a people's way of life. Culture determines how we view the world around us. Culture includes the tradition we inherit and pass on to the next generation. Culture is the totality of our shared language, knowledge, material object, and behavior. Let's see the understanding of culture. Culture is a unique possession of man. Every man is born into a society. It's the same as saying that every man is born into a culture. Every man can be regarded as a representative of his culture. Culture is a unique quality of man which separates him from the lower animals. Culture can be said to include all the human phenomena in a society, including all learned behavior. Culture is a very broad term that includes our ways of life and modes of behavior, our philosophies of ethics, our morals and manners, our customs and traditions, our religious, political, economic, and other types of activities. So culture is a training of mind or manners. Anthropologically, the way of life of a group of people. And basically, the idea of culture arises from the observation that what human beings do and what they refrain from doing is, in part, a consequence of being brought up in one group as opposed to another. People have a social heredity as well as a biological heredity. Biological heredity represents practices common to all human societies, while social heredity refers to customs which usually vary from one society to the next. So we can say that culture is the man-made part of human environment. Why do we need culture? Culture enables people to adapt to surroundings, and function effectively in their social environment. Muslim culture is a term primarily used to describe all cultural practices common to historically Muslim people. Okay, next term is the civilization, the definition of civilization. What is civilization? Derived from the Latin word civis, which means citizen. It is an advanced state of human society possessing historical and cultural unity. So civilization is an advanced state of human society in which a high level of culture, science, industry, and government has been achieved. Civilization is defined as highly organized society marked by advanced knowledge of trade, government, art, science, and often at our time written language. If they don't have written language, they don't have a civilization. What are the components of civilization? Religion, philosophy, sociology, anthropology, culture, science and technology, art and literature, and history. These are different components of civilization. If a society don't have religion, mostly they don't represent a civilization. If they don't have a history, they don't have any historical background, so that is not a perfect civilization. The basic features of the civilization, according to Ibn Khaldun, who is the father of sociology, he says that there are 5 different elements. The first one is the strong religion, then the system of organized state, the city life, the system of high writing, and the expertise in the art. These are the 5 different features of civilization. Or if we, according to other scholars, city, improving the quality of life, system of organization and planned social institution, homogeneous language and system of writing, system of law and value, improved design, development of creativity. The effect of religion to civilization. Sometimes religion affects the civilization. For example, religion has relation with civilization. For example, Islamic civilization. In Islamic civilization, this civilization has been affected by the religion, Islamic, which is Islam. And some civilization have the reverse relation. They affect the religion. They're not affected by religion. They affect the religion. In that civilization, sometimes the religion and civilization are both separated. For example, Western civilization, they are the liberal civilization, secular civilization. Their religion and civilization both are separated, but Western civilization affects their religion. Okay, what is the relationship between the civilization and culture? Civilization is the manifestation of society of its high culture. So culture is human procedure to act on their environment and the behavior that is studied by human, which is generally considered as tradition. So culture is a lower state and civilization is a high state. So it is possible that there is a culture, but that is not a civilization. But it is not possible that there is a civilization and that don't have a culture. So every civilization have a culture, but it is not compulsory that every culture have a civilization. The relation between civilization and nation, there is a difference between civilization and nation. Civilization can exceed the limits of national geography sometimes. For example, Islamic civilization that is a universal civilization, and Western civilization that also exceed the limits of territory nation. And sometimes they don't cross the limits. For example, Arab have their own customs and culture, and Malay civilization with their own traditions. So they don't exceed their territories. Is culture and civilization same thing? The concept of culture was often used synonymously with civilization, but sociologists differentiate between culture and civilization as the two different levels of phenomena. The concept of civilization was almost equated with highly valued things, such as respect of people for one another, the sanctity of life, and high regard for the good, the ethical, and the beautiful. In this sense, those who were lacking in these attributes were regarded as uncivilized. If you see a person eating without manners, you will say that he is uncivilized. But at the same time, if someone eating with good manners, you will call it civilized. Difference between civilization and culture. There are some permanent elements in civilization. For example, caste system of India, and in comparison, the culture have the temporary element. For example, these dressing style, and civilization is beyond the limits of either countries or territories. For example, the concept of religion and comparative to it, culture don't have this kind, often associated with the country or region. For example, Pakistani dressing. Okay, the next important thing is the basis of culture and civilization. There are 5 bases. What we see, this is the cultural output. We discussed that this is the culture, Pakistani culture, this is Indian culture, this is that culture. But that is the cultural output. What is the basis of culture? There are some bases of culture. As in the next slide, this is defined by the Riza Hidalgo, that there are 3 levels. First one is the unconscious rules, symbolic rules, which is a deep culture. He says that culture is like an iceberg. There are 3 levels, 2 are under the ocean, which are under the surface, which are not seen, and the third one is we see. So the first level is the unconscious rules. Our rules and beliefs lie on the symbolic level. How we ascribe meaning to our experience depends on the values we hold and beliefs that we may have. And the second level is also how we define our social roles, the language we speak, the rituals we practice, and the form taken by our non-verbal communication. And the surface level is the technology, music, food, artistic works, and materials. So we can say that there are some basic values. On that there are some specific practices, and when we adopt that practices, when we get that the result of that values and practices, that is the surface level, that is the civilization. When we achieve the technology, music, food, and etc. So there are the bases of culture and civilization, 5 bases. The first one is the worldview. We discussed it earlier with details, but worldview discuss about the basic values. That is the basic concepts of every person. As I discussed in the worldview, that every person has some basic questions. For example, when he or she came in this world, they have some questions. He has some questions. For example, who I am, मैं कौन हूँ, and who are the other peoples, and question about the universe. So every civilization or every culture has different answer to this question. Who I am, for example, Islam says that you are the vicegerent of Almighty Allah on this earth. So that this civilization, Islamic civilization, give a higher status to a person, to a man, that you are the vicegerent of Almighty Allah on this earth. You are the superior from all other things. So you don't have to prostrate to the sun or the moon or any other thing. You have to आपने किसी चीज को सजदा नहीं करना, आप सबसे superior हो, बाकी सब चीजें आपके लिए पैदा की गई हैं. And if you go to another culture, civilization, you know that there are civilizations who worship for the sun, for the different things. क्योंकि उनके वर्ल्ड व्यू के मुताबिक वो जिस चीज को पावरफुल देखते हैं, वो ये समझते हैं कि ये चीज जो है हमारे ऊपर इसको इख्तियार हासिल है, ये हमसे सुपीरियर है. तो वो कभी सूरज को सिद्धा कर रहे होते हैं, कभी चांद को, कभी और चीजों को. बट इस्लामिक वर्ल्ड व्यू इज वेरी क्लियर, दैट सेज यू आर द सुपीरियर. ऐसी इसमें ये भी क्वेश्चन होता है हु आर द अदर पीपल्स. फॉर एग्जांपल, इफ वी डिस्कस द इंडियन सिविलाइजेशन, दैट विल से that other people, you will see who is from which caste he belong. If he belong to a higher caste, if he is Brahman, then you have to give him respect. But if he is Shudra, you are supposed to not give him any kind of respect. But in Islamic civilization, Islam says all the humans are equal. By birth, all are equal. In the third question, for example, about the universe, I discussed it that Islamic civilization said that the universe is for your benefit. So Muslims use the things of this universe positively for their benefit. Okay, the second base is the objective of life. In different civilizations, the people have different objective of life. For example, in Islamic civilization, people have the objective. The main objective is that to achieve the consent of Almighty Allah. But if you go to a materialistic society, materialistic civilization, they will say that our objective is to become a billionaire, to become a prime minister, to get that status or these things. But Islamic civilization, the objective of life is to achieve the consent of God, and this objective is the perfect objective, because other objectives, for example, you think that you want to become a billionaire, so you are not certain that you will become or not. Sometimes many people become, but some people become the millionaire. They got their objectives, their goals, but not all the people get their goals. Because, for example, if अगर कोई शख्स ये कहता है कि मेरा objective ये है to become the king, so एक ही शख्स king बनेगा. अब उसके लिए क्या होगा, उसको पहले अपने जो ट्राइब है, अपनी पार्टी है, उसको मिलाकर दूसरों के साथ लड़ाई करनी पड़ेगी. और अगर उसको जीत जाता है तो फिर दूसरों को खत्म करके वो जीतेगा. फिर उसकी अपनी पार्टी में ही ये होगा कि कौन बने. फिर यानी कि एक वक्त में एक ही शख्स बन सकता है. ये ऑब्जेक्टिव एट द सेम टाइम मैनी पीपल जो है वो इसको अचीव नहीं कर सकते. लेकिन इस्लामिक जो ऑब्जेक्टिव है कंसेंट ऑफ द गॉड, ये हर शख्स हासिल कर सकता है, किसी वक्त भी हासिल कर सकते हैं. एट द सेम टाइम मुख्तलिफ लोग भी हासिल कर सकते हैं. अगर आपके पास जस्ट 5 मिनट्स हैं और आप कंसेंट ऑफ द गॉड हासिल करना चाहते हैं तो कोई मुश्किल नहीं है, आप बहुत इजीली इसको अचीव कर सकते हैं. और एट द सेम टाइम हजारों लोग चाहें सब हासिल कर सकते हैं विदाउट हार्मिंग एनी अदर पर्सन. सो इट इज ए परफेक्ट ऑब्जेक्टिव. एंड देन बेसिक कॉन्सेप्ट्स for developing of personality. Islam have different types of personality. We have the role model in the life of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And fourth one is the ethical system. Islam gives the higher status to ethics, to morals. And the fifth one is the social system. Every civilization has some social system. For example, we have the marriage system. This is different from other societies. So what are the characteristics of Islamic culture and civilization? Oneness of God. It is based on the foundation of absolute oneness in belief. It was the first civilization that proclaimed the message of one God who has no partner or association in his rule and dominion. He is the only one who is worshipped and he is the only one who is taught. Second one, human preference. The second of the characteristics of our civilization is that It is human in its preference and objectives. As the Quran says, O mankind, indeed we have created you from a male and a female, and made you peoples and tribes that you may know one another. Indeed, the most noble of you in the sight of Allah is the most righteous of you. Indeed, Allah is knowing and acquainted. Third one is the moral system, as we discussed earlier, that it has the third character of Islamic civilization is in which it gave the prominence to moral principles in all of its system and fields of activity, and never abandoned these principles or used them as means of benefiting a state, a group, or an individual. In ruling, in science, in legislation, in war, in peace, in economy, in the family, it paid attention to these moral principles in legislation and in implementation of law. Fourth one is the tolerance of one of these unique characteristics of our civilization is this. देखें इस्लामिक civilization is based on a religion, और कभी भी ऐसे नहीं होता कि कोई civilization religion पे बेस कर रही हो और वो फिर भी दूसरों से इतनी tolerant हो, और at the same time when they have this concept that they are on the right path, जब वो अपने आप को बिल्कुल ठीक समझ रहा हो कोई और फिर भी वो दूसरों को कुछ ना कहे, तो ये एक हाई लेवल है टॉलरेंस का. हम जैसे मुस्लिम्स का ये बिलीव है कि बाकी जो है रिलीजन वो गलत हैं, सिर्फ इस्लाम है वो इस टाइम पे वो ठीक है. इसके बावजूद बाकी से इतनी जस्टिस, इंसाफ करना और ये करना, ये एक बहुत ही हाई लेवल है टॉलरेंस का. और फिफ्थ वन इज दी बिलीव इन नॉलेज. In this field, it reached a high level that has never been attained by any civilization before or since. Islamic civilization left behind a legacy in that field which deserves to be admired for it alone. Among all the civilization, guaranteed the happiness of man in the pursuit sense, not contaminated with any misery. So the fifth characteristic is that it believes in knowledge in the truest sense, based on belief in the purest principle. So it addressed the rational mind and the heart at the same time. It provoked emotions and thought at the same time. This is an advantage that has not been shared by any other civilization in history. And religion was one of the greatest factors in its development. From the mosques of Baghdad, Damascus, Cairo, Cordoba, the rays of knowledge shone into all parts of the world. Islamic civilization is the only one in which religion was not separated from the state, even though it was separate from within that civilization. The head of state was the caliph and a leader of the believers, Amir al-Mu'min, but he ruled in accordance with the truth, and legislation was left to those scholars who were specialized in that field.